So the way I'm going to make this quilt is I'm going to start out with a square, and I'm going to tape 2 triangles to it. And I'm using this wash away tape here. It's made for quilting and it's soluble in water, so you just like stick it on. It's really sticky, and so you just stick it on and hold everything down, and then when you wash it, it goes away. Hopefully it'll be able to all wash out of here. There's a lot of layers in this quilt, like way more than I've ever seen before. So we'll see what happens. But I'm just going to tape down the corners here where like the 2 come together, and that'll hold all of the pieces together so I can take it to the machine and tack it. And so whenever I tack it, I'm just going to sew a little bit near the corners. You could sew the whole way around, but that makes all of the seams really bulky, and this is already super bulky because there are 3 layers everywhere along this edge. And then once you have a whole bunch of these made, you sew them together next to each other. And so where the seams had 3, now you have 6 layers here at the seam. And then when you sew them together in groups of 4, you end up with so many layers at that center seam. And so what I do here is I spiral the seams, and that helps to flatten it so that you won't end up with super large bumps in the middle where they all come together. It's still going to be a little lumpy, you can't get past that. That happens in every quilt. But most quilts don't have 6 to 12 layers in a seam, so I don't know what's going to happen with this one. This is already thicker than most of the quilts I've ever made, and it doesn't even have any binding or batting in it. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so now that I have a whole bunch of these tacked together in the corners, I'm going to start arranging them so that all of the diamond shape comes together. So we don't want it to be parallel, we want them to come together like this. So I'll set them up in groups of 2. You can't see that. Okay, so I'm going to set them up in groups of 2 so that the lines come together to form a point. And then once they are together, I'm going to take one of them and flip it over the other. And then I'm going to sew on this side. Alright, we're over at the sewing machine. I have my stack next to me, and I'm ready to start chain piecing. So chain piecing is when you do them one right after another. I gotta move my needle. There we go. So you just do them one right after another in a big chain. You don't have to like cut the thread. And so it's just real easy. You can just pick up the presser foot and add the next one in. And just keep going. So this is gonna make 21 blocks. I'm going to arrange these so that all of them have the point here, whoops, sorry, point here, pointing up, and then flip it over. So point faces up, flip it over. Cool, so now I have a couple of these, and I'm going to press them so that the seam goes that way. No, wait a second. Nope, this way. Okay, so seam's gonna be on this side here, and whenever I open this, it's going to have the seam going in the right direction. So first thing you do is iron it flat, then open it up and press it again. I'm going to start laying them out to make my diamonds. And just like I did earlier, I'm going to get two of them next to each other. I'm going to flip one over, and I like it this way so that I'm always sewing down the right hand side, and that makes it easy for me to remember. So I can just set this one aside and keep doing this with every one that's here in the stack. And then I can take them over to the sewing machine and start chain piecing. So here we are. I have sewn together 4 of the little squares to make one big square with a diamond in it, and now I'm going to spin the seams. And so to do that, you have to use your seam ripper and take out just a few of the stitches on the inside here. And when you do, it'll just kind of pop open on its own. It's really neat. And that'll get your seams to lay as flat as they can for having a billion layers stuck in here. And so once you pick out a few of the seams or a few of the stitches, you just kind of take these two and give them a little twist, and it pops right open. It's hard to see. It's hard to see, but that's what's happening. And now I gotta do that to all of these. I have a whole big pile of them next to me. Well, it's not really that big. I haven't done that many of them today. I like to do things all at the same time. So usually I'll get a pile of like 100 and do them. But since I'm making the video, I just did a couple today. Also, I didn't really feel like quilting today. Sometimes that happens. And it makes it really hard, especially when Christmas is coming. And I wanted to get this done by Christmas, so I have to quilt even on days when I don't feel like quilting. Spin them around, get them to lay as flat as you can. There's a lot going on in that middle there. It's probably not going to be great, but that's the best I can do. And you just iron it. Yeah, it's pretty flat. That's pretty flat. It looks pretty good. So now that all of our blocks are done, it's time to start sewing them into bigger blocks. So what I'm going to do is take 2 of these and sew them together like this. And I'm going to do that to this entire pile of blocks.